Hello, Nova StarCraft here, and this is something a bit different from me. I'm actually doing a StarCraft tutorial, and this is a Zerg versus Protoss build. It's for Protoss, and this is going to be, as you'll see here, it's a low economy build. It's popularized by Adelscotts, and the build that I'm doing is strictly for Protoss versus Protoss, but it works so well in PvP, in Protoss against Zerg, when you make a few alterations to the way you play it out. So this is what you're seeing here. It's just the basic build, which I've recorded, and I just entered a random game and played out the opening, and it just happened to be against the Protoss in this case. So ignore the fact that there's a Pro Scout will probably come. So here we go. I get my first get on 13, fairly normal for a one base opening. But then something very strangely, I get a 14 Pylon, which makes the build move very a bit smoother. Because what I'm going to do soon is build a second gateway, and we're getting 2 gateways. I'm getting 2 gateways early, so that I can build 4 Zealots. And I'm going to push out with a delayed gas, and the gas will give me just enough money to build either 2 Stalkers and Warp Gate research, or a Mothership Core and Warp Gate research. And I'm going to do a bit of pressure, and it will force him to be defensive with his units, and that will allow me to expand. And it works the same against both Protoss and Zerg. But I like it more against Zerg, because what it's doing is it's forcing your opponent to make drones when they really would Lings when they much prefer to make drones. So it's delaying their economy. And also it transitions very nicely because you can wall off your natural, put a forge because you need the forge for a follow-up push, which you do with the follow-up push with 5 gateways and +1, which works on the fact that you've delayed your opponent's economy early. And yeah, so it just works. I really do like it against Zerg. So here's my second gateway kicking in. Got my delayed Cybercore coming in. I don't need it really early because I'm going to get my 4 Zealots first anyway, and then I'm going to get the Mothership Core. You can get, I recommend getting 2 Stalkers instead of the Mothership Core if you're feeling a bit unsafe and you think your opponent will counterattack, because the Mothership Core doesn't kill things fast enough. It's good at, what's really good is it's good at doing 2-pronged attacks, where you attack with your 4 Zealots at the front. You can use the Mothership Core in the back and kill a couple of drones and then recall out safely. So defensively, Stalkers, offensively, Mothership Core, which sounds counterintuitive but still. So here's me getting the Nexus against Zerg. I built a Pylon at the natural ramp, and there obviously wouldn't be this skirmish with a Zealot. And then I rally my 2 Stalkers in this case. So I decided I'm don't feel safe in this one. So that's the opening. I'll write the specific build order in the notes, and I'm going to move over to a game in which I transition into this build after opening like a normal macro play against Zerg, and I'll transition into this build and yeah, see how it plays out. Okay, so here I am in game, and I've opened up fairly normally. I've got my Pylon, then my natural to wall off. I'm just going to go Nexus first if I don't see anything too scary. Well, on this map actually, if I don't scout my opponent because it's a 4-player map, I often go Forge and then Nexus. But that doesn't really matter, I'm showing you this style. So, I'm scouting all the positions, and then something out of the ordinary is going to occur. I'm going to see my opponent doing a 10-pull, I think that's what it was. So yeah, correctly building the Forge because I haven't scouted my opponent yet. And I see those Lings coming. I just need to check. I just check what sort of rush it was. There we go. So I think it was a 10-pull. Yeah. So what I decided to do is I decided to get a cannon in my mineral line. Often you can afford to wall off. You can wall off the natural in time, but I don't really want to risk it. And so I've started the build midway through, so I've abandoned my old style, and I've transitioned into this 2-gate pressure, because I'm responding to the fact that my opponent has done this low economy style. So this build's going to be very effective. So I'm going to get those 4 Zealots, and that's going to help me defend my main as well as the cannon. And then with my 4, once I do reach 4, then I'm going to push out. And I think I also build a mothership core. Yeah, there's a mothership core, and that's going to help me deal some harassment damage to my opponent, prevent him from making as many drones as he'd like, which in the long run is going to make it harder for him to secure a third, which is what this build's all about. So I'm pushing out here. Now I throw down my Nexus and start to wall off with a cannon. I rebuild my forge to wall off. So I build a couple of sentries with my next 200 gas, and I add on a second gas. As the forge going down and walling off. I try and do as much damage as possible, cost effectively. I don't really want to throw him away for no reason. So I'm going to try and be as non-committal as possible. So that's good engagement. It'll take out lots of things, but it was worth endangering their lives for that. And I'm going to get a few queens. So it's only really worth throwing away the zealots if you're going to get do a lot of damage. So there we go. Got even more queen. Got even more things, and I got 2 queens in that engagement, so very good. And I re-hauled out safely. So now I know my opponent's can't be on a very high economy. So I'm going to be slightly behind it, if at all, on workers. So next what I do is I get lots of sentries to defend myself, so they're going to build up energy. I'm also going to get a +1 upgrade, and I'm going to push out with 5 gateways. There's my 4th, I think, finishing up. Gonna get lots of units, and then I'm going to Chrono Boost the +1. I should be anyway, a bit more than I am. And when that finishes, just before it's going to finish, I'm going to push out, bring a pylon, bring a probe to build a proxy pylon, and I'm going to deny a third, and then I'm going to wait outside his main for my sentries, make it very hard for him to leave, and just deny that third as long as possible while I tech up at home and get more and more ahead. So it's good. He's taken the third, and he's never going to be able to hold that a third when I do this sort of push. If I execute as well, he's never going to be able to keep that third. And I kill lots and lots of drones, which is always what you're looking out for, doing as much economic damage as possible. Kill some roaches as well. And if you're thinking that I'm playing against the newbie here, and that's the only reason this is working, my opponent is actually a Master League player. And I don't know if I think this was played on unranked to be fair, but my opponent is definitely he's a decent player, and you'll see soon that he's quite competent. He's made a few mistakes so far to be fair as well. So I'm teching up as soon as I get the contain. I get observers, and I'm going to get blink, and I'm going to get charge. I'm just going to upgrade my low tier army as much as possible until I see what tech my opponent's choice my opponent's gone for, and then I can go for it, add on further tech to deal with it. So yeah, lots and lots of Zealot Stalkers, sentries. Maybe a bit too many Zealots, but that's just how it works when you works out when you tech up like this. You don't have much gas spare, so I'm spending on lots of upgrades stuff. So yeah, that was a bad engagement for me. Just wanted to poke up and see if I can do any damage. You never want to commit to a battle. So this is the sort of thing you do want to commit to actually. When they leave their base, you can cut them up the force fields. They're away from their spine crawlers. I shouldn't have done that there. Yeah, it's like you just keep warping things in and upgrading. Very good, very good. So I see he's going Hydras. So now is the time for me to tech up even further. So I'm going to go for High Templar and Storm. So I'm going to write in the description all the different other responses, but I can go through all of them. I can show a replay for every single one of them because that would just take far too long. The one I do want to talk about though actually is if our opponent went for Mutas. This is this is the cool thing about doing this in Heart of the Swarm. Now if our opponent goes for Mutas, we can deny the third, and then use the Mothership Core to recall back to our main when the Mutas come to harass us. So which makes this build a lot stronger than it was in Wings of Liberty. So containing. This does, from I think from many viewpoints, this does look like a very low level way to play. And it does feel that way while you're doing it often. But you've got to trust in the build. It is quite good. It is a good build. There's a reason we're playing like a newbie. Or we appear to be playing like a newbie. So even though my main is mining out, I've scattered most of the positions. I think I've scattered all the positions for in the expos. Even though my main's mining out, I know that his main must be mining out as well. So I don't really need to take another base as long as I can keep the contain up and tech up. And I'm just getting further and further ahead in tech, and Hydras are not very good against against the army composition I've got here. So now I'm maxed out. Time to move in, and I'm attacking 2 places at once using my storms. I got overconfident a bit here. I remember. I think, oh, he's dropped that stuff on me. I've stormed it all. I've won, but in fact, I haven't won yet. My 2-pronged attack's doing well though. My Zealots in the top left have done quite a bit of damage, I think. And now Zealots drawing the army back, and we're going to keep attacking the natural. And now reinforce with Stalkers. Getting some High Templar for a couple storms. Dealing as much damage as I can cost effectively with the Stalkers. Probably should be running away because he has an infest. Oops. So I'm going to get some storms, and then we'll push out again. I know he has practically no economy, because that's the way I've played the game. So storms are just ridiculous against players which don't have much, in this situation. So just keep denying the third. It's the most important thing in the game. And there's going to be a few more skirmishes. It's quite fun to play this style as well. It's really micro heavy. Good if you're not so good against good with macro. Though I usually prefer to play macro. And he's just left, it seems. So yeah, that's accurately showing you how the build should be played out. I hope you enjoyed this. If you and I hope you try it out yourself. I know it doesn't seem like a very good build, but it does. You have to trust me. It does work a lot better than it seems, and I'm sure Adelscott, when he was playing these styles a long time ago, he got a lot of stick from other players that he wasn't playing properly. In quotation marks, properly. Anyway, see you later.